I think this next fight's going to be a little bit tougher to call than I thought. Aori Qileng and Cameron Else. The big thing about Cameron Else, I'll never forget, is going into that Kyler Phillips fight. Looking at his tape, I actually was very impressed. I loved the ground game. I loved what I saw on the feet, just from a setup perspective. He wasn't extremely fast or anything, but he landed big shots. He really enjoyed trying to look for submissions, either whether guys are trying to, level change against him, or if he was just finding the opportunity to, guys were slowing down. Finding those opportunities, right? He was just really good at that based on the tape that we saw. And the big thing for me, man, first career loss for the big Paddy Pimblett.
And the referee.
Almost a nonplussed demeanor to him. He's good left hook early.
Really good left hook. Good timing. Else overcommitted with his strikes.
Oh, and he's jumped for a triangle early on. Very good guard.
Look how quickly he locks up this anaconda here.
Else is looking for the anaconda off the sprawl. That is a favorite of his and something that he's been drilling a lot for this fight.
He
did tell me about this, and he's looking pretty tight at the moment.
Well, I think he stopped
and he's out.
Paddy Pimblett absolutely donezo in that fight. It's highlights like that make you believe that Cameron Else has a lot of potential. He's really good friends with Donald Cerrone. He trains out of Jackson Wink pretty regularly. This is just a very high-profile fight for some of the guys who have paid attention to MMA at a very deep level for the last couple of years. Aori Qileng, let's talk about that debut with Jeff Molina. I think that put both those guys on the map. And for me, Jeff Molina is just such a fun fighter to watch. The moment I started doing research on the kid, everything that he's doing in this sport, you absolutely love. And he's got such a good attitude. He's a really good, I think he's a great face for the sport. And I hope in the next few years he gets a bit more of the credit that he kind of, I'm not going to say deserves, but I really want to see him do more in the sport as like maybe even an analyst, that kind of thing. But Cody Durden fight, absolute war as well. When you look at that fight, Aori Qileng was doing more on the feet, especially over the course of 3 rounds, but Durden was actually just winning the fight in the first 2, and he did enough, in the first round, and I think he did enough in the third to just sustain that decision win. So I think the tape says more about how durable, how much he's willing to stand and bang, how quickly he's able to adapt. I love the durability. I love the cardio. And that's where Cameron Else comes into play. Aori Qileng's been spending time at 10th Planet in Vegas. It's just those little decisions that make fighters so much better. And with Cameron, it's like, what version are we going to get? The one against Kyler Phillips was a short notice fight. He stepped in for actually Dana Batjeri, who is one of his training partners. And so for me, I think that's one of those situations where it's not the best version we're getting of him. So let's really analyze that this fight's going to be incredibly insane. I think Aori Qileng is going to have that durability and that pace advantage over the course of 3 rounds. But I think Cameron Else is going to have a serious advantage on the ground, just in terms of finding opportunities, setting things up. We can see how that plays out, but Aori deserves to be a favorite here. I just think on the feet he's going to be a handful, and I think minus 140 makes a lot of sense for the guest to line. He shouldn't be too much of a favorite, but I think it makes a lot of sense there. And we're seeing a lot of these minus 200 types of favorites, right? Aori Qileng opens as a minus 160 favorite, now sitting about minus 235, minus 240. Cameron Else plus 140, now as high as a plus 200. Again, I don't want to be shocked by the tape, but there's a lot to be said with how good Cameron Else can be in the UFC, how exciting he's looked in the past. But again, he's taking on a volume striker with great durability. But if he can get creative, use those level changes, I think we're looking at a live dog here, depending on that first round goes. So keep an eye on that one. I'm excited for that fight in a big way.